I'm calling this the state of black women because I think we need to have one. So gather around because this that I'm about to share what I'm actually seeing in real time and experiencing also. So, first, there's the DEI conversation. I know that's not so much talked about, but we're still in the aftermath, I'll say, of it. With DI, as you know, or may not know, that we never even benefited from it anyway, but that's another conversation. But what I want to say is that there's that conversation, and I want to mention and acknowledge it. But the what I really want to talk about as it relates to that is that thankfully, I see a whole lot of black women doing better, much better than we even give ourselves credit for. So it was something that was created supposedly to support, but it ended up not being of any, of I don't want to say any, of minimal benefit to us. But so the reduction, whatever happened, was negligibly inconsequential to us. And maybe I want to say, as a result of its almost non-impact on us, we are thriving. So that's where I want that to land. We're doing very well for ourselves. And the shift that I really want to talk about, now that that's out of the way, the shift I want to talk about today is that we're doing well, and now it's time for our lives to catch up. When I say catch up, it's outside of money, because the doing well is with the accumulation of wealth, the titles that we have, and the external successes that we've accomplished. So we're doing well in that sense. I want to give you a few receipts, and then I'm going to come back to this. Black women owned employer businesses grew 51.2% from 2019 to 2024, and revenues grew 102.8%. So approximately 102%. That is phenomenal. Black owned firms overall hit 194,585 in 2022, and revenue grew 66% from 2017 up till 2022. That's amazing. Third, in 2023, Black women had the highest labor force participation among adult women, and that percentage is 63.2%. So when I say we're doing well, we're doing well. We're working, we're building, we're producing, we're leading. Now, here's what I want to say next. What I'm noticing is a different kind of awareness that is growing in Black women at the moment. And it's beyond, I want more. It's more like, I'm not doing this part anymore. And that part is the parts of our lives that are not supporting us. What do I mean? I mean that we're no longer willing to keep the burden or the responsibility of relationships that are one sided. We're not as willing as we used to be by default to be the emotional manager of anyone else. So figure yourself out, okay? I'll pray for you while you get it together. We are not as willing to keep explaining ourselves, especially to people who benefit from misunderstanding us. We're also doing things differently as it relates to the questions that we're asking. I always say this, and I don't know where it came from originally. Some say Tony Robbins, some say wherever I came from. The quality of your life determines the quality of your question. Of the quality of your questions, excuse me, determines the quality of your lives. Truer words have never been spoken by whoever it is, right? So we're asking different questions now, and this is what really excites me. We're asking questions like, is my life actually working for me as I want it to work? Not as I was told it should, or I was expected it should, or society says it should. We are asking whether it's working for us the way we intend or intended for it to work for us. And what does that mean? Is my life working for me in a way that my soul is lit up, in a way that is aligned with the desires of my soul. Your soul will never lie to you. If there's something that your soul desires, it's more than likely what your related to what your purpose is. And if you're not living in that purpose, if your soul is not in alignment or in congruence with the way you're living, there's a disconnect. So if you're feeling that sense of there's something more, or after you've accomplished something or you've met a goal, you're still feeling like there's still something that you need to do, that means that you are in congruence with your soul's desire. Because the idea that you have to do more to feel fulfilled, to feel worthy, to feel respected is one that has misled many, many of us. And it's not really our fault. It's been the conditioning from society, from culture, from some of our well intentioned family members from the past, from all those people. Where we are right now is a state of being. So the question that we're asking, that I'm seeing more of us asking, is why, or no, or is my life, why is my life, one iteration of it is, why is my life not internally reflecting the external success that I have? Or conversely, is my life working for me in the way that I want it to work? We realize that we've been winning, but we're still living tightly. And what I mean is that we're still, a lot of us, bracing for the next shoe to drop. We're still, for the most part, living on alert to be able to catch something, to be able to do something, to be able to feel something. And a lot of these things are not things that affect us directly. They're just things that we've been conditioned to do and manage for so long that we just kept that programming going. We're still handling and solving all the people's problems under the sun and maybe even under the moon. And what it is that you cannot build real success, my definition of soul success, while your body is still living like you're in survival mode. And that means that you're bracing, you're waiting, you're catching, you're managing, you're doing all those different things. So that question is really, really pertinent, because the part that people are surprised, or the part that messes with people, is that if you think that you can just get the next thing done, then you get to relax and kick back and then you get to enjoy life. It doesn't work like that. Breathing and exhaling doesn't come from finishing last. And as long as you're prioritizing everything else at the cost of your own well being, at the cost of the desires of your soul, you are never, ever, ever going to get that feeling that you've been chasing. Exhaling comes from releasing what you've been holding. All the burden, all the things that you position yourself or you've been positioned to field, to protect, to hold, to manage, to carry. Another thing is thinking that you need to be grateful and that gratitude is all that is, required. I want to tell you this. You can be grateful and still acknowledge that something is missing. Gratitude does not mean that you cannot still desire more. It's not just more of the same external stuff. So, two things can be true. And in this case, two things are true. Express your gratitude for the external things that you have and still desire for the internal fulfillment that you want. One more thing that I want to add that is messing with us at the moment is the idea, the notion that you should be able to do everything. And that saying that you're tired or admitting that you can't or you won't, better still, is not a sign of weakness. It's actually you allowing people to see that you're human and allowing your humanity to lead, not your doer self, the things that you do. You weren't born to do, you were born to be. When you are, the things that need to be done get done, but you don't lead from doing. Because doing well externally, as we know, as we see from people who have attained high levels of success but are still one of the most miserable group of people that exist. So that should tell you that doing well externally does not mean that you're okay internally. And that's why we're seeing more black women starting to want more realness in their lives, real peace that is not contingent upon there's no one around to disturb me. I have all the money that I want. All those external conditions. Peace that surpasses the understanding of man, God's type of peace. That's what we want. Real softness. Again, softness does not mean that you don't do anything, but it means that you're leading and you're doing from the being that you are. What does that mean? It means that you're allowing yourself to rest. You're allowing yourself to say, no, I don't want to do this. You're doing only the things that are in alignment with what you want to do, not what you've been told or programmed to do. We're seeking real friendships, friendships where people are not trying to be us, where they don't like us, but they want to be us. Friendships where you're free to be yourself, where the environment is safe enough for you to be vulnerable, where vulnerability is not seen as weakness and it's actually invited as a way of acknowledging your humanity and that you need care also. You need space, you need love, you need all those things that you have been given. We're also wanting, seeking, desiring real love. Love that is not conditional. Love that doesn't come with all this. If you do this, if you give this, if you are like this. Love that just accepts you as you are. All your flaws, all your everything, where you don't have to earn it, where you don't have to do things, where you don't have to give in order to have it. We're wanting that. We're also wanting real choices, choices that reflect us. The ability, true freedom, it comes from choices also, but choosing the right things, and what are the right things? The right things are the things that you want. Simple. The things that you want because they are in alignment with who you are, because they are the things that reflect who you are the real choices. So we're also wanting that. We're not wanting soft life aesthetically, we're wanting it internally, where we're not performing for worth, trying to earn validation, looking for external approval from anyone. Our approval, our sense of worthiness, who we are, is internal, from our internal selves, from us, essentially. So I want to talk about relationships real quick. I just want to stay here a little bit longer because I'm seeing this a lot. The shift is really loud in this. Some of you are realizing that you don't want to be easy anymore, where you're letting things that irk you slide. You're speaking up for yourself. You don't want to be the strong one, the one who's doing everything, who's carrying all the weight, all the responsibilities. And relationally, it could be romantic, could be with your mom, could be in your sister group. It doesn't matter what type of relationship. But relationships where you've been compromising yourself, where you've been letting things slide because you don't want to, buck the whatever is going on. You don't want to lose people. You don't want to alienate friends or people. Him, whatever it is. You don't want to keep dating or marrying people who benefit from you being low maintenance and not speaking up for your needs or not going after your desires. You don't want friendships that only work when you're the one who's checking in, only when you're the one who's giving, who's doing the doing, who, when you express friendships where you express your desire, your need, you're met with nothing, or even they ghost you. That's a thing too. That's me how I know. So, a lot of women have built a life that looks solid, but those lives they created intentionally did not accommodate them, did not have them included in it. They were not the main characters of their lives. They centered around everybody else, and you essentially just got whatever you got. You fitted in wherever you could fit in. So, now that I've shared my state of the union, my question to you is, where are you still over functioning? Where is there still a push to overperform, overgive, overdo, over everything, right? Because it keeps you feeling in control. And this is an internal question. This is not a question that you ask anyone. This is a question where you sit with it and really just reflect on your relationships, reflect on your life, reflect on where you are. Do a state of my life, right? And think about it. Where are you feeling that you, once it's time to engage in that capacity, there's a raising of the shoulder, a bracing, a pull to show up differently than ordinarily you would, to show up in a way that is not who you are, where you have to act, where you have to wear a mask, where you're saying things that are not really reflective of you, where you're agreeing, where you're doing, where are you over functioning because it keeps you feeling in control? That's my question to you. Because that's the work that I do with my clients. We get really, really honest about where we've been performing in our lives, in our love lives, in our families, even with ourselves, where, and we start to shift ourselves back into a life that actually feels true to you, a life that aligns with the desires of your soul. Because you, my dear, cannot keep building on top of emotional debt. So that is where I want to leave you. I want you to ask yourself that question. I want you to take some time to let it sit. I want you to be really honest, not that you wouldn't be, because a lot of it too is on awareness of the way we're showing up and the things we've been doing, because we've been doing them for so long that we don't even know that there's a different way of operating, where you get to be you, where you don't have to perform, where you feel worthy and you know that you're worthy, where you embody worthiness just as you are, because you are. So if you know exactly what I mean, or some parts of this has come up for you, I have a free starting point that I want to invite you to avail yourself of. It's called the Unperformed Woman's Guide, and the link to get it is in the description. It's 3 simple steps, and it's a way for you to see what's been happening and to offer you a simple action to move you past it, what to do next, how to be next. So the link is in the description, as mentioned. And also tell me in the chat what area needs to catch up the most right now, whether it's in your body, whether it's your relationships, whether it's your peace of mind, or even your time. Let me know, and I'll see you in the next live. Ciao. Also, share this with someone who you think would benefit from hearing it.